This is section 2.5. This is part 2. We've been talking about perimeter, and we've just worked 2 problems where we plugged into a formula, and we got positive answers, which is what we were supposed to get for some sort of distance. Now let's look at a problem that says a square plywood platform has a perimeter which is 10 times the length of a side decreased by 42. Find the length of a side. Anytime you have a geometry problem, anytime you're not given a formula and you're dealing with some sort of geometric figure, you want to draw a picture. So I'm going to draw what I think is a square, even though it's not beautiful. Okay, so what do we know about squares? I don't know the length of that side. That's what I'm looking for, right? Find the length of a side. What I know about squares is that all the sides are the same. X plus X plus X plus X. That's going to be my perimeter, the distance around. Which means it is 4x. Okay. A square plywood platform has a perimeter. Okay, there's my perimeter, which is, I'm kind of doing a translation problem now, 10 times the length of a side, which is x, comma, decreased by 42. Now again, this is a subtraction. We really need to think about it. If my salary is decreased by 42, then I take my salary and subtract 42 to find out what I'm going to be making. In this case, the subtraction goes in the order it is written. All right, so let's look at our plan. The perimeter is 10 times the length of a side, so 10 times the length of a side would be x, decreased by 42. But we know what p is. P is 4x. So the equation I want to solve is 4x is equal to 10x minus 42. Now I need to get my x's together, so I'm going to move my 10x over to the left by subtracting 10x from both sides. Be careful with your signs. Negative 6x is equal to negative 42. As soon as I start having negatives pop up in a problem where I know I can't get a negative answer, I slow down, I double check everything, because that's not the kind of mistake you want to make. One of the keys to getting good at math is learning where you make your mistakes and remembering to check them. Okay, so I have negative 6x is equal to negative 42. I want a 1 here, so I divide by negative 6 on both sides. A negative divided by a negative is positive, so my x is going to equal positive 7. Again, this is a perimeter, so if you were given some sort of unit, it would be 7 inches, 7 feet, something like that. Okay. So now let's talk about the area of a plane geometric figure. That means, again, we're still talking about a flat figure. It could be a rectangle, it could be a triangle, it could be something like that. The area is the measure of the surface covered by the figure. So how much space does that take up? A time when you might want to know the perimeter is if you're replacing the fence in your backyard. You need to know how much wood to buy, how much of it you have to enclose. You might want to know area when you are replacing the floor in your house. If you buy carpet, people come in and they find the square footage of your house and you buy the carpet that way. So they both have very good uses. Okay, so the area of a plane geometric figure is the measure of the surface. These are measured in square units. Now what that means is that you'll see it's measured in meters squared or inches squared. You don't have to do anything with this square. Don't let that mess you up. This is just the units. And when we're talking about area, we're usually talking about how many little squares we can fit in there, so we have an idea of the space. That's why we do square units. This particular formula, area equals 1/2 times base times height. This is the area of a triangle. I'm not going to ask you to memorize these formulas, but I strongly recommend that you do. They come up a lot in later math classes, and you're just kind of expected to know them. If I ask you to use a particular formula, say on a test, either the formula will be provided or the formula will be given in a different problem somewhere else on the test. So the information will be there. You might have to look for it a little bit, but it should be there. All right, so we want to find the piece that's missing. We're given the base and we're given the height, so we're looking for area. Let's just plug in. Area equals 1/2 times the base times the height. Okay, these are all multiplications. It does not matter what order you multiply in. So, and remember that when we're multiplying, we often say of. So 1/2 of 10 times 14 is the same thing as saying we're multiplying them all together. Let's go ahead and multiply 10 and 14 because that's easy. 1/2 times 10 times 14 will be 1/2 of 140. What is 1/2 of 140? 70. So this triangle has an area of 70 square whatever units we were measuring in.